Okay, wait. What's happening? Okay, so I am recording. We share. I want to share this. Okay, so I want to go over the textual analysis essay. So to analyze something is to explain, to break it into smaller pieces and explain what those pieces mean. So when we talk about textual analysis, you may analyze a text, you may analyze a painting, you may analyze a movie, a commercial, a trend you notice in society. All of those are appropriate topics for this textual analysis essay. The main point is that you have to have a thesis statement, which would be what you think the significance is, the point of the text, right? You're going to be choosing a text, deciding what you think the point of it is, and then defending that by way of analyzing the text in great detail and going over the elements that lead you to the understanding you have of that text. So I'm just going to go through this and read it with you. For our third and final essay, before the final exam, you will be analyzing a text and explaining the meaning and significance of that text. A text can be in any written, visual, or audio piece. In other words, you may analyze an essay, a song, a commercial, a movie, a painting, and so on. Like I said, also cultural trends. So there's an essay in your book that I'd like you to read in which the author analyzes Disney princesses and what Disney princesses show us about our culture's attitude towards women, and basically how women are portrayed in movies, particularly Disney princess movies. So something like that would be appropriate to analyze as well. Rather than evaluate and discuss the quality of the piece you are writing about the way you did in your first essay, you'll be explaining to your reader what the text means and how you know it means that. So here's what I would suggest you start with. Choose a text. Like I said, the text does not have to be written words. It can be a painting, for instance. Like if I were doing this, I would choose maybe a painting that I'm interested in and then go through and analyze the way the colors, the composition of the painting, the characters in the painting, the positioning of each character. I would go through the painting, analyze those things, and decide what I thought the significance and meaning of the painting is, and then I would use those separate pieces that I'd already analyzed to explain and prove that that was or is indeed the meaning, right? So you're going to choose a text. You could write that down there if you print this out. You don't have to. Brainstorm everything you notice, see, understand about that text. This could be single words. This is just a brainstorming space. Based on your notes above, develop an interpretation of that text. This will become your working thesis. So let's go over, that's the assignment. By the way, the rough draft is not due this Saturday, like I said. It's going to be due next Wednesday, which is December 1st. And the final draft is due December 4th, which means that between December 1st and Saturday, our final class before the final, I'm going to read and edit your pieces, and then you're going to apply your final edit. So our last class will be you applying those final edits and then preparing for your final, which will be the following class, the 11th. Okay, so let's go ahead and look in your book at the chapter on textual analysis. Where is the book? Here we go. All right. Let me resume share. New share. There we go. Okay, so this should be working. Share. There we go. All right, so analyzing texts. Both the Huffington Post and National Review cover the same events, but each one interprets them differently. Okay, so analysis and interpretation, we've talked about this all semester. Those are the two pieces of thinking you must do after you present some evidence to support your thesis in any kind of genre of essay, any kind of essay that's necessary. You are spending the whole essay. This essay's purpose is to analyze and interpret. So you've spent two essays already doing that. You're going to really apply those skills to this one. All toothpaste ads claim to make teeth the whitest. The Environmental Protection Agency is a guardian of America's air, water, and soil, or an unconstitutional impediment to economic growth, depending on which politician is speaking. Those are but three examples that demonstrate why we need to be careful, analytical readers of magazines, newspapers, blogs, websites, political documents, even textbooks. Text is commonly thought of as words, as a piece of writing. In the academic world, however, text can include not only writing, but images, photographs, illustrations, videos, films, and even sculptures, buildings, and music and other sounds. And many texts combine words, images, and sounds. We are constantly bombarded with texts on the web, in print, on signs and billboards, even on our clothing. Not only does the text convey information, but it also influences how and what we think. We need to read then to understand not only what texts say, but also how they say it and how they try to persuade or influence what we think. Because understanding how texts say what they say and achieve their effect is so critical. Assignments in many disciplines ask you to analyze texts. You may be asked to analyze candidates' speeches in a political science course or to analyze the imagery of a poem for a literature class. In a statistics course, you might analyze a set of data, a numerical text, to find the standard deviation from the mean. This chapter offers detailed guidelines for writing an essay that closely examines a text, both for what it says and how it does so. So like I said in your assignment, you're going to say what you think the text is saying, and then you're going to say how it is saying that. What you see in the text, what details are you analyzing that support what you think the meaning is. The text achieves with the goal of demonstrating for readers how and how well the text achieves its effects. We'll begin with 3 good examples. The first annotated to point out the key features found in most textual analysis. All right, so this textual analysis is great. It's annotated and each part is pointed out. The fashion industry, free to be an individual. So this author analyzes 2 visual texts, commercials, ads, and they look through what details in those texts support their understanding of what the fashion industry is saying about individuality, right? So read this to understand their thesis. These next ones are, I think, pretty long. They're really good if you want to look at that again. Particularly this one, Why It Worked, a rhetorical analysis of Obama's speech on race. Definitely, absolutely read the first one. Read the other 2 if you would like to. I want you to read the first one, and I want you to read the Disney Princess one, which is on page, hold on one second, let me double check what page. It's right here. 738. So page 738 is where the Disney Princess essay is, textual analysis is, and it's really, really good. So please read that. So your assignments are to read the first one, the fashion industry one, the one that's annotated in your book, and page 738, the Disney Princess one. The other ones, just read if you feel like you need to. Let's go through the key features, if I can find it. Excuse me, where are your key features? This is important. Did I miss the key features? I guess I did. Let's go back. Key features, where are you? Here we go, key features, a summary or description of your text. So say you're analyzing a painting, you would summarize by in a detailed way describing what the painting is. Attention to the context. So at this point, if I was doing a painting, for example, I would look up maybe the historical context of that painting, who the painter was, and use one whole paragraph to explain the context. Clear interpretation and judgment. So here's where my thesis comes in. I might spend the first 2 paragraphs doing a summary and then giving context. Then I get into this kind of more traditional introduction where I'm going to now say, and this piece means this because blah, blah, blah. That's my thesis. Then I spend the rest of the essay supporting that thesis, right? So the clear interpretation or judgment is where your thesis comes in. Reasonable support for your conclusion. This is where your powers of analysis and interpretation really, really come in. This is where you look at specific details of the text you're analyzing to support your clear interpretation of that text, okay? Please read this on your own, choosing a text to analyze. And considering the rhetorical situation. You can read generating ideas if that's helpful for you. That is totally up to you. Let's look at different ways to set up these essays though. So different organizational patterns. So you could set it up thematically, introduce your analysis, summarize or describe the text, provide needed context, outline your method or focus, and state your thesis. That would be like a traditional introduction in like a traditional outline. The typical out essay outline where you'd have your summary, your context, your background information that lets your reader orient to what text you're talking about, and then you'd have your argument, right? Then you go through your traditional body paragraphs, where each body paragraph is a detail that supports that argument, and then you go into analyze, into depth analyzing that, right? And then your conclusion, part by part or text by text. So this is a little bit of a different setup. Introduce your analysis, summarize or describe the text, provide needed context, outline your method or focus, state your thesis, analyze the first section of the text, analyze the next section of the text, continue as needed. And so this is not so different, but this would be more in order of the text. So say you were doing a speech, you would analyze then the first paragraph of the speech, the second paragraph. You'd go piece by piece, sort of in order through the text. If the text has an order, that would be harder. This, for instance, this organization wouldn't work for a visual text. It wouldn't really work for a painting, right? The first one would work better. Spatially, as the text is likely to be experienced by viewers. So this is similar as the order that we just talked about before, but spatially this might be beneficial if you're doing something like a commercial or a movie, or something that's visual but not necessarily static, not necessarily still like a painting. So you would do the same thing for your introduction, summarize, describe the text, provide context needed. We'd call that background information. And then your thesis, after you outline how you're going to focus your essay, analyze the most prominent part of the text or the part viewers see first. So say it's an ad, what is the thing that catches your eye the most? Then you go into the smaller details, continue the analysis in order the text is experienced top to bottom, left to right, center to edges. So this would be literally spatially. This would be really good for a visual analysis, possibly a painting, more likely, I think, for something like a movie or an ad. This would be really good for a written text, and this would be good for pretty much anything. So thematically, I think is the easiest setup, but you decide which one works the best for you and the text you have chosen. I think that's all I want to say about that. Please let me know if you have any questions. If you guys would check in with me and let me know which text you've chosen, that would be really good. I'll send some emails out tomorrow probably to check in with you about that as well. And I will be grading your essays today. Thank you for your patience on these videos. I will also, as I grade your essays, be sending you possibly small videos that are detailed or designed just for each individual about things you need to work on. But it's more likely that I'll just give you some exercises and then describe in writing what you need to work on. And then if you would like some office hours with me, we can talk about that together. And we can get on the phone or something this long weekend. All right, remember there's no class on Saturday. I will see you next Saturday, and be watching your inbox for some more feedback from me and possibly more videos if I see it is necessary for you to really understand this concept. All right, thank you all. Bye. Okay.